Well, welcome. We're going to start, Ryan, with you, if it's all right.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been in the business. Let's start there.
So my name is Ryan Maceri. I am from Detroit, Michigan, along with Jeff.
Yep.
Been in the business.
So wait, there is more business to go around then?
There's plenty of business.
Okay.
Jeff does a high volume, but there's plenty of business to go around.
For sure.
I am a husband, a father, an investor. Been doing this for 10 years.
10 years, awesome. And since we connected, which I know we went through a sales rocket together, one of the ones that your brokerage hired me to do. You've been in one-on-one coaching since then. Obviously, you graduated that sales rocket program, and most recently, you went through the most recent systems of real estate. In 2024, you did 79 units for a total of 19 million in volume. That's a pretty good year, my friend.
It was, at that point, it was my best year.
It was your best year. And you say was because this is going to be your best year. You're at 38 units so far, just under 10 million in volume, and you're on pace for 90 units and 22 million in volume, which will be your best year ever.
Yes, sir.
I love it. So, 10 years of doing this, you've been plugging into what we're doing since 2023. What's going to make it your best year ever? What's different about what you're doing right now than what you did in the past? Because obviously we could argue 2024, was that your best year ever at that time? Yeah. Yep, so you already had your best year ever. Now you're about to have your next best year ever. What have you been doing differently over the last couple of years versus the previous 7 or 8?
Jeff, I don't think it's something that I was doing differently. And it's been preached this whole conference, especially today, of consistency.
Yeah.
How I feel is if you are not staying consistent, you are consistently starting over. Okay. So for me, even though there's things that there's times where I'm thinking like, man, this isn't working. It's slower, but at the end of the day, I know that if I continue to do it, it's going to pay off in the end, and it keeps paying off in the end.
Yeah. Were you ever at a point in your career where you were consistently starting over? Because it sounds like you said that with a little passion. Like in the beginning years? Maybe a little bit in the beginning years, because, when you're a newer agent, you're always trying to chase the shiny object. Yep.
But I realized real fast that that's not the way to go.
Yep. So one of the things that we talked about on our prep call or conversation that we had was that you're having some good success with Realtor.com leads. Which,
I am.
Through the years, we've had panelists on this stage that either love them or hate them. We have attendees in the audience that either love Realtor.com leads or hate Realtor.com leads. So tell us in your mind, what do you think you're doing differently to convert those that maybe others who are saying, yeah, those leads stink, are doing?
Well, number one is speed to lead. Everyone knows that. Your speed to lead. We have a plan in our CRM. Lead comes in. We have certain smart plans that hit and remind us to make calls every day, every other day, whatever the system is, or the smart plan is. Yeah. And we don't veer from that.
Okay, so what I just heard in that is speed to lead. Of course, we all know that's important, but
it's very important, yeah.
Frequency of your follow-up is just as important, which is obviously something we teach.
And that consistency of the follow-up, to continuously follow up and be consistent with it. You can't call once or twice and then just go on to the next one and think, oh, that lead's dead. Yeah. Sometimes it would take me, I would call leads for a year. I know that's sometimes maybe too much.
Too long. Yeah.
But it wouldn't be like a daily thing. After so long, it would be maybe every couple weeks.
Yep.
But then I get a call back a year later. Hey, you're the only one who's been calling me. I'm ready.
Yeah. So the lesson in that is when you think a lead is dead, it can absolutely show up at any point in time. So if you had to average it out, what would you say the average number of attempts you make to an average Realtor.com lead before they respond to you? And I know some respond right away.
Some respond right away.
But what would you say the average amount of times you have to reach out is?
If they don't respond in the first 2 days, I would say probably 8 or 9 times. Okay. I have to hit them before they respond. Okay.
So by the way, the latest lead study that was done says that the average consumer responds after our 5th attempt. And that study was done like 5 years ago now. It was the largest internet lead study ever done on internet leads. And I would argue that number 5 is probably like 6 or 7 or 8 today because people have so many more notifications than they had 5 years ago. Yeah. So what I just heard in that is if they don't respond immediately, it is taking 7, 8 times to get them to respond.
Correct. And what I see, I think the reason behind that is because there's AI now. So I know in my CRM system, you can have it set where AI starts trying to convert it. So sometimes by the time I hit it, they're like, you're the 8th person who's called me. Well, no, it's actually my AI, me, a smart plan number. Like I'm 3 of those.
Yep.
Now, I try not to do that too much, but there's some you have to, depending on how many leads you're coming.
So would you say, in your experience, when they do finally respond after your 7th or 8th attempt, what percentage of them are like, how dare you reach out to me 7 or 8 times?
No, I don't get that.
You don't get that?
No.
And do you know why that is? That's because you're the only one keeping track of how many times you reach out. They're not. They have no idea. You're buried in all their notifications and their mixed text messages and their missed calls. So you're thinking, oh my gosh, back in the day before CRMs, I had check marks. I had 7 or 8 check marks on a lead sheet. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've reached out to this guy 8 times. He's going to kill me at this point if he answers the phone. Yeah. But no, they don't even know. They don't even recognize it because you are, they're not keeping score. You're the only one keeping score.
And you're mixed in with 20 other people, like especially Realtor.com, any internet lead, they're not on just that one site. They're looking on Google and Zillow and Realtor.com. Yep. So they're getting a ton of people calling them. So they don't know how many times you personally called them. Right. You're just like, they may think you called them 100 times, but it may be your first time.
So you were on a great trajectory, and then in 2020, you had something serious take place. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. So, yeah, I got my license in 2015. And I was doing pretty good. I was every year getting better. 2020, I was diagnosed with cancer. I get a little choked up when I talk about it, but. So at the time, I just had my first son.
Take your time. You're all right, brother. You're all right, bro.
I talk about this all the time, and now in front of all of you. But
you're not alone.
He was 5 months old, and it was a tough time. And there was I had to go through the chemo and all that stuff, and I would literally sit there all day while I'm hooked up to the poison, and I would not stop working. I just kept working, lead gen, follow up, all that stuff. After I was done, it was a 7-hour day of all that. I would go show houses, go on listing appointments, wear a hat because I was bald. But I never gave up.
No. Yeah, that's good. That's big. That's big. That's awesome. That's cool. I'm just trying to get these guys to come in at 8 o'clock. So
it was awful. It was awful.
I mean, essentially,
I just wanted to sleep and close my eyes, but I knew what I had to do. I knew what it takes, and I didn't want to start over.
Honestly, most people, this could go one of a couple ways. So I'm going to choose.
I did it for my family. I did it for my kid. I did it for my wife. Did it for myself.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you also do a lot of business with your database. 1 or 2 things that you think in your mind has caused you to get the repeat and referral business that you're getting today from your database?
Well, we started doing more client events, VIP boxes, stuff that you guys teach to.
Yep.
And I think starting to do that and getting in front of them more and being more part of, or having them be more part of our world.
Yep.
Instead of, hey, we closed, congratulations, like, see you next time. I think that's helped because every time we would reach out, every time they would come to an event, we'd be able to talk, and then all of a sudden, oh, hey, I got someone. And then they came back, we're looking to sell, we're looking to move.
Yeah.
So by being in touch with them consistently over every year, no matter if they, even the ones that were prospecting, like we include those people too, that's helped tremendously.
Did you just recently implement the VIP boxes? Or is that something you've been doing for a few years?
We started doing that in the last year and a half.
In the last year and a half. And, the thing is with database, and I'm sure you agree with this, Ryan, it's really hard to pinpoint what the one thing that was that caused them to send you the referral. And that's, for me, that was the hardest, I had the hardest time embracing database, because I want to know that if I make 10 calls and get this many contacts, I'm going to get this many leads, and it doesn't really work that way with database. It's all of the stuff that adds value put together that causes them to reach out to you. Is there anything in particular, whether it's the VIP boxes or anything that you've done recently, that you believe is a difference maker and something that they respond well to, and it's helped you generate repeat and referral business from your database? Like when you think of all the stuff you do to add value and all the things we talk about, what's one thing you feel like you've really nailed?
I don't know if there's one thing out of all that. I think everything.
So you would agree
general,
that it's a combination of everything.
It's a combination of everything. And to say one thing too regarding that, if you're reaching out to your past clients and you're inviting them to these events, even if they don't show up, they're seeing it. And they care. They want to be invited even though they may not be able to come. I've had clients reach out and say, hey, I see every time you invite me, thank you for that. It really means a lot. One of these days I'm going to come. And it was like the 8th time I invited them to something, never heard from them. And they're like, I love getting them. Thank you for, and now we're back in touch.
They almost start feeling guilty. So it's like, listen, I know I haven't been, but trust me, I'm going to send somebody to do this week or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at your events, what is one of your favorite events that you do with your database?
We do a fall one at Blake's cider mill at Orchard.
Which for cider mill, for everyone outside of the Midwest, that's like an apple orchard or a pumpkin patch. Anytime I'm in any state and I talk about our cider mill event, people are looking at me like I have three heads.
Sometimes I forget where.
They don't call them cider mills in most of the country.
Right. Yep. So they can pick apples. They can get donut. There's a ton of stuff there.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest one.
And that's kind of an iconic location. That's not necessarily central in the county, but everyone who pretty much grew up in Macomb County, that area, knows Blake's. And they know that if you're going to bring your family to the cider mill, it's fall. That's like a tradition that probably most families are used to doing anyways. So is that why you chose that? Why did you choose that as the event?
It holds a lot of people. There's a lot of options over there, especially for kids.
Yep.
And that was a huge thing. We wanted to make sure it had something to do with something that involves kids.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients have kids. I have kids, so I want to make sure that they have accommodations for that. A lot of people go to bars, do that. I mean, that's like happy hour stuff. You can still do that.
Do some adult stuff and do some kid stuff.
Absolutely, but you have to incorporate people's kids or else they're not going to come.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to share it, but when I was going through the hybrid farming stuff, Taylor shared with me the reason why she did that bingo night is because she was doing things in her neighborhood and recognizing that the same people kept showing up over and over, but she felt like she was missing out a huge demographic of the neighborhood. So she started doing bingo events, and now she's hitting both demographics. So there's a value in doing stuff for different age groups, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Talk to us about VIP boxes. How many do you send? How often do you send them? What does that look like in your business? And maybe explain for those that aren't familiar with VIP boxes what that is.
Yeah, so, and you guys touched on it today. What we do is we look at who's referring us the most business, who's come back to us the most times. I mean, we don't have as big of a database as you, so we can combine a little bit more, and sometimes we'll include more people that we're really targeting.
Yeah. So basically, you can go a little deeper with the smaller
group. We can go
a
little deeper with the smaller group.
Yeah.
But like, for example, one of our last ones, champagne and a bottle with a note and a chocolate in it for New Year's.
Yep.
I think it's one of the
That's
things
one
that
of
you
the
guys
ones that we
do.
teach. Yep. And that was probably what, a $6 expense, $7 expense?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't really
it's
matter
less than
because
$10.
to me it's the value, the
Yeah.
staying top of mind.
Yep.
That's all.
And the
that's
reason
all
why
important.
we teach VIP boxes, and you know this, you found this, which is why you're doing them now, is because you have to do stuff that doesn't just add value, because some of the stuff in the VIP boxes might not add value to everybody. If you send a little bottle of Prosecco to someone who doesn't drink, obviously that isn't any value to them, but it stands out. And so just as much as we talk about adding value to the database, doing things that stand out that other realtors aren't doing, because you have to almost pretend that every single person in your database is in 3 or 4 other real estate agents' database. So you set them up on your drip campaigns, they're getting the same stuff from you as they're getting from everyone else. But you send a VIP box, okay, this guy's legit, right? It gives a different vibe.
And not only do we do that, we also do like St. Patrick's Day. Lucky
Yep.
to have you as a client. Little
Yep.
$1 lotto ticket.
Yep.
Valentine's Day giveaways. Like we do that throughout the year.
Yeah, awesome. Number one thing that when you think of what you've gotten out of your relationship and working with us, what's the number one thing you've gotten out of either coaching or our system?
Number one thing that I've gotten, I coach with Andy, and he's helped me get my time back.
Helped you get your time back. Explain that.
Yeah. I was taking on everything, and even though I had someone, I hired I have an assistant, and for me to get stuff off my plate is, in my mind, it's like, well, no one could do it as good as I can.
Yep.
So for me, I was doing everything, and she could be doing a lot more.
Yeah.
So I was able to put more on her plate.
Yep.
That filled her day, and now when I do go home, I can spend time with my kids.
So was that hard for you to wrestle with the idea of taking on that kind of expense? Because I feel like that's, a lot of agents think about, well, shoot, if I would have had an assistant this month, I didn't have a closing, I actually would have lost money. So no, I'm just going to keep doing this on my own. I feel like that's the thing that keeps a lot of agents hovering around 20-ish units or so, and they never get to 40 or 50 because they're not willing to take a little bit of a risk and pay someone consistently, whether you got commissions coming in or not.
Yeah, so it took me a while to actually pull the trigger on that. And this was before coaching. Mm-hmm. I knew I needed it.
Yep.
But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still able to do this, but
Yep.
what I wasn't realizing, it was taking so much time from my family.
Yep.
So when I finally decided to do that, it was the best decision I made.
Yeah.
Best decision. It took so much off my plate and more time to think, to be me and get that business to grow, to pay her, and to continue to grow with that,
Tomorrow we're going to talk about the showing agent model, and same thing. A lot of people in the audience are going to say, I think I'll just handle the showings myself if I have to pay someone a percentage of my commission. And the reality is what you just said is the value of that time you get back. And regardless of what you do with it, whether you go spend time with family or you go back on the phones, the value of that time you get back is worth more than the time you'd spend, in your case, doing paperwork, or in a showing agent's case, showing homes, right?
100%.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Ryan. Thank you, bud.